Welcome back to week 2. Can you believe it? I know that week 1 was a lot. There was a lot of intense work going on. There was a lot of energy that we were moving. There was a lot of healing that you were doing. And here's the thing, right? If we don't look at our past, we're going to keep repeating our past because whatever we're running away from is always going to keep showing up in our lives. So the work that you're doing is so important. And I know that it wasn't the most fun-filled week. Hell, burning the piece of paper, if you did that, that might have been pretty fun for you. But it was just a lot and it was intense, and I know that. And I want you to know that it's going to get more fun as we get going. This is just the essential work that you really have to do. Let me know how you're feeling, how the guided meditations are going, how the hypnoses are going. How are you feeling after them? Are you really feeling like you're starting to cultivate a good morning routine and a nightly ritual? Because in reality, that's what I'm trying to get you to do, right? I know that you've heard so many people talk about your morning routine is going to lead you to having a successful day. And if you're one of those people that studied, the rags to riches stories, or you've studied the very, very successful people in your industry or just in life in general, one very similar correlation that they're all going to have is that they have a morning routine. And it's because having a morning routine takes you out of a state of reaction, where if you didn't have a morning routine and you just pick up your phone or start looking at your emails or going about your day, that's a reactionary state. Whereas when you wake up and you take your time to meditate, to say affirmations, to journal, to get outside, to move your body, whatever the essentials are for you, when you take that time to really ground into yourself and your own energy, you are allowed to show up and throughout your day in a state of creation. And that's what I'm trying to get you to do, is to become a co-creator of your reality. That's ultimately what manifestation is, right? You're co-creating your reality. And so many people want to say that it's so esoteric that it's not real. But when we apply the science to quantum mechanics and quantum physics to it, and it proves that it is real, and that's where the term the quantum leap comes from, that's when you really can prove both sides of it. We don't have to keep separating that has to be one side or the other. Life gets best when we include all sides and we work together. And that's what I want to do continuously through this course. We'll get further into the quantum mechanics and all of that if you're like, oh, she just gave me a little and then that was it. That's because we're going to cover that heavily when we start talking about manifestation and energy and frequency. So hold on. We still have a little more work to do before we get there, but I promise you it is coming. So this week, I really, really want to focus on yourself and the self, your relationship with yourself specifically. You've probably heard me say this if you've been following me for a while, but your relationship with yourself creates every other relationship in your life. And I'm talking about romantic relationships, your financial relationship, like what you see when you look at your bank account, lack of relationships if you're not in a relationship, or this can look like dramatic relationships with your family or friends. It can populate in so many different ways. And often it's a projection that we're seeing to look at a part of ourselves, or we're not honoring a part of ourselves, right? And it all comes down to having healthy routines that set us up for success, but also intuitively listening to what we need and what you want. Especially if you're a woman, right? Society doesn't cater to the fact that we have cyclical changes that happen monthly to us. And if we're constantly trying to compete with men in a men's world, then we're dishonoring the beauty and the honor that we have of being a woman, and realizing that there are times in the month that we need to slow down and not do as much. And that's okay, because some of the most beautiful processing comes from that time. Some of the best revelations, some of the best business ideas, just the moments of self-love. And coming back to our divine feminine and the power that women were born to have, it's something that I really want us women to be able to cultivate, because I think that we have so much ancestral shame around it, specifically with me, because I have a witch wound. My ancestor was one of the last witches that was hanged in Salem. She was the last, actually. Her name was Martha Carrier. If you're interested, you can totally look her up. I have a cousin who has written and dedicated much of her life to becoming basically a historian of her life, and she's written books about it. But yeah, so one thing that I really had to cope with was having this witch wound. For so many centuries and so many decades, women did not have the right to even want to go to school. They couldn't even have that want because it wouldn't have been able to be fulfilled. They were only to marry and have kids, and that was their only purpose, and hopefully birth a boy. And we live in such a beautiful time for women to be able to decide what they want to do and create businesses that they love and be able to serve the community. And what I'm trying to get at is that I want to empower women to be able to love themselves and honor themselves in no matter what they're doing and no matter what their role is. You have a healthy relationship with yourself. That's when you're able to really cultivate a healthy relationship with life, with the universe, because you can trust yourself, so you can trust other people, and then you can trust that the universe can support you. And you're also saying things in your mind, whether you're talking about yourself or other people, that are supporting the universe you want to live in, and they're positive and they're healthy and they're empowering, because we've been taught from such a young age to stand in the mirror and belittle ourselves and pick ourselves apart. And I really want you, by the end of this course, to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say that you love yourself and mean it. I want you to be able to compliment yourself and mean it. And I want you to be able to smile at yourself and truly feel love coming from yourself. Because ultimately, the happiness, the love, the abundance, everything that we're looking for is an energy, it's a frequency, it's something that we create inside of us. And because we feel it inside of us, the universe delivers it, manifests it, creates it, whatever terminology you want to use. It shows up in your external reality so that you can see it. You have to believe before you can receive. And it's so true, because if you're constantly just responding to the outside world, you're never allowing yourself to create the world that you want. Taken out of that state of creation, you're put into that state of reaction. And that's when you're unable to really raise your vibration. Energy and the frequency that you're creating inside of you ends up creating the world outside of you. So we really have to focus on, before we can even get into manifestation, you really have to make sure that you are feeling your best and you're realizing that you're not going to be dependent on something in your outside world bringing you the love that you want to feel, bringing you the happiness that you want to feel, bringing you the joy that you want to feel. Of course, things in your outside world can help you feel that way, but you need to not be reliant on those things, because what happens is, if you're reliant on something in your external world, then you are going to vibrate with a frequency of desperation. And desperation is always going to push things away from you. Think about dating world. When a man is desperate, you're like, ugh, that's so unappealing, right? But when a man is almost a little unattainable, you're like, sexy man, you. There's just this intrigue there when there's a little bit of, oh, I can't touch you. It's intriguing. If you are wanting and just like, you want it so badly that you're begging and pleading, you're lowering your vibration because you're lowering your self-worth. And I know that you've probably heard this before, but self-worth equals your net worth. And it's so true, because the money you see in your bank account doesn't define you. The weight you see on your scale, it doesn't define you. The time now to share this is one of my biggest struggles and journeys. I always wanted to be happy and I always wanted to be skinny. It's one of those things that I've been skinny for so long now that I almost forget what it's like to have that struggle of someone that just wants to be skinnier and just doesn't want to feel like the fat girl around her friends. And that was a journey and a struggle I went on for so long. So I know how triggering looking at the scale can be when it's a number that you don't want to see. But I'm also here to tell you that I've gone through this. So hear me out. I'm not just some skinny girl telling you. I truly mean this. I was that girl growing up that wasn't the skinny one. I was undiagnosed with an autoimmune disease until I was 22 years old. So I was eating food that I was literally toxically allergic to. It was at toxic gluten levels when I was diagnosed. So I say all of this just to say that we don't know the struggles that anyone has gone through. When you are judging yourself or when you're judging anyone else, whether it's online or in person, you don't know the struggles that anyone have gone through. And sometimes with yourself, you've forgotten the struggles that you've gone through and you've forgotten how far you've come. So looking at a number on the scale, looking at the money in your bank account, which is something I struggled with as well, getting paid paycheck to paycheck and always being afraid to look at my bank account, knowing that there was going to be very little money in it. And I always had spent more money than I had. And it was always this, where was it going to come from? And this frantic desperation, which pushed money away from me. When I frantically and desperately wanted to be skinny, it pushed skinniness and health away from me. And your gut health and your mental health are directly related, right? So I suffered from a lot of depression and anxiety. And it wasn't until I started realizing the power of what I was eating, what I was consuming, actually physically and intangibly, through the media I was consuming, through the dialogue I was choosing, by having conversations online or in person. All of this is directly related. So wherever you're at in your health journey, in your self-love journey, in your personal development journey, I can meet you wherever because I've been to so many different places and I've struggled through so many different areas. And that's why I'm really here to support you on this journey, because I feel like I've been through it all. I had said for so many years growing up, I will write a book one day. I always really wanted to write a book. And everyone was like, what are you going to write a book about? Well, I always wanted to write books, but I knew one of them was going to be about my life. And I used to joke and say, but I'll have to write it as a fictional book. And they would say, why? And I would always say, because so much craziness and crazy situations. And I've gone through just so much and so many learning lessons so early in my life. As I record this, I'm 32 years old and I've been through more than most people have gone through in their entire lifetime. And that's why I feel like coaching and teaching are just such an amazing arena for me, and being able to share, in a written sense as well with all of my posts on social media, and being able to show up on digital and audio communications, whatever it is. I just have this ability to meet people where they're at because I've really been through so much. So I want you to know that it's okay where if you're just starting and you're still looking in the mirror and saying terrible things to yourself, or whether you have been doing this work and you've really been working on loving yourself and becoming your own best friend, we can always learn to love ourselves a little bit more. We can always learn to be a little kinder to ourselves, because you know what happens when you love yourself more, when you're kinder to yourself, when you show up for yourself in these ways, you can show up for others in these ways. And one thing that's really powerful amongst the self-love journey, and it's very important, is getting rid of judgment. And judgment is something that shows up so often, and it actually will block your manifestation. And it's always you judging someone else because you haven't integrated a shadow part of yourself, an aspect of yourself, whether it's through something that you need to heal through inner child work, where you just need to journal out, or you need to look at, you need to face, or you need to let go of, or reframe. There's so many parts of us when we're judging that it's just a reminder to look at ourselves and go internally and make sure that you're being honest with yourself and you're showing up for yourself. So one thing that I've been doing this month is, and I think this right here is so transformative, so transformative. Please let me know how this goes for you, because it's changed my life already, and I've only been implementing it for probably 2 weeks now. So anytime I look at someone, you know how we've just been taught to judge people for the clothing they're wearing, or the shape of their body, or their hair, or, you know, their lack of hair, whatever it is. So instead of my brain being allowed to judge anyone for anything, I am now, every time I see someone, giving them a compliment, whether it is in my mind, or, you know, say they're down the road and they're very far away, or if it's, you know, saying it out loud to them, because that's so powerful, right? We are making someone's day if we're complimenting them, honestly, especially if they haven't had a compliment in a while. You don't know what's going on in a person's life. That could change their day. That could change their week. That could just change their vibration. And we know that your vibration is what causes your manifestations. So you can help someone so much. Or you can even just change your own vibration by complimenting someone. So I want you to start doing that. I want you to start complimenting yourself when you see your reflection, or just smile and say, I love you. That's something that I do every time I see my reflection. Smile and say, I love you, Alexa, and really mean it. And at the beginning, I honestly didn't, okay? Like, I'll be honest with you. I want to be so transparent on this entire journey, because you really teach people where you're at. If you've perfected every area, you're almost so unrelatable that people can't learn from you. I'm not perfect. I'm going through this, and I try and show up as the best version of myself every single day. And I challenge myself to be better the next day and the next day and the next day. And that's just the best you can do. Learning to love yourself is really being able to say nice things to yourself, speaking nice words to yourself, having nice thoughts about yourself and other people. And it sounds almost silly and rudimentary, but if you're not being nice to yourself, if you're not loving yourself, if you're allowing yourself to binge eat, if you're smoking cigarettes, if you're drinking alcohol every single day, if you're doing drugs, you're not treating your body right, which is not allowing your body and your energy to work together, and your spiritual body, that will hurt all areas of your life. So really, we need to learn to love ourselves. Our self-love generates our confidence. It generates our self-worth. And that's what's going to really create our reality. And it allows you to dream bigger, right? Because when you feel like you are worthy of the most amazing and incredible life, you're not going to be thinking about, how am I going to pay my rent every single month? Your rent is obviously paid, and you're obviously living in a luxurious house and driving a luxurious car, and you're creating amazing things in business, because that's what a wealthy woman would do. That's what an abundant woman would do. That's what a woman that's living her best life would be doing, right? She wouldn't be worrying. She wouldn't be putting out desperation vibes, or she wouldn't be walking around feeling insecure about her body when she sees other women in a body that's different than her own, because she would say, my body is beautiful, and I appreciate that woman and her body, and I'm so grateful that she exists and she has such a different body, so I can see how beautiful my body is, and I can reflect love for both of us at the same time, right? We need to build each other up, especially as women. We need to empower each other, especially as business owners, especially women have been beating each other down for so many years. And whether it's yourself or whether it's other people, these cliques that we have, we need to start loving ourselves more. And it starts with your daily practices. It starts with the words that you're saying to yourself and thinking out loud. And this is going to create the frequency and the vibration that you're giving off. And you can know when you're vibrating in a low vibration because you don't feel good. And when you're vibrating in a high vibration, you're feeling good. And I'm not saying that you're not human and you won't have highs and lows, especially if you are 50% of the population in human design that has an emotional authority. Hey girl, hey, that's me. We have highs, we have lows. Like I always say with human design, we're riding the wave, right? We are surfing. We just have to feel the emotions, to do the damn things. Don't make excuses. Show up, love yourself, be kind to yourself. There's balance in every day, and that will be the same with your mood. You won't always be feeling amazing. This isn't about spiritual bypassing. It's about feeling the things and acknowledging them, but it's also about choosing to feel the feelings that feel the best, and choosing to put ourselves in situations that feel the best, and choosing to put ourselves around people that feel the best, and choosing to follow people that feel the best. You know, it's all about feeling. When it comes down to manifestation, it's going to be, the secret is how you're feeling. Neville Goddard, who I call the GOAT of manifestation, he always taught that the feeling is the secret. He has a book called that, and it's an amazing book, and your feeling is really what's going to generate everything else in your life. So yes, visualization helps. Yes, affirmations help. Yes, reprogramming your mind helps. Yes, learning manifestation and learning manifestation tips and techniques, it helps. But ultimately, if you did one thing and one thing alone, just feel your best. Because if you feel your best, everything else in the world is going to work out, because the universe rises to meet you. And the reality that you live in is a mirror reflection of how you're feeling on the inside. So when you feel amazing, your life looks amazing. And that's not to say that when you have a bad day, your life's going to come crashing down. And also with the law of attraction, when they teach you, you know, don't speak or think bad things, sometimes it's going to happen. You know what I mean? Sometimes life in the external world can get tough. But it's about getting through it and processing it and learning your lessons, and then choosing to find an empowered solution out of it. Don't focus your brain on problems. Make your brain turn around and be a solution maker. And that's what I'm here to help you do, because when you create solutions, you feel good. And when you continue to focus on solutions, you keep having solutions, you keep having opportunities, you keep having abundance, because this is what you're programming your mind and your life for. But here's the thing, right? It sounds so fun. It sounds so easy. But if you don't love yourself, if you're not treating your body right, it's going to be so much harder to align with the high vibration, to align with the high frequency, to feel good. Your gut health and your mental health are directly related. If you're eating a bunch of food that are processed and not good for you, then your brain, it's going to be harder for you to focus and to goal set and to manifest and just decide what you want to manifest, and to ultimately believe that you can, because this work is going to be, a lot of it is subconscious, right? But you are showing that you're subconscious daily, and you're creating daily with your conscious mind as well, with the words and the vibrations that you're giving off. So we really have to look at it in a holistic way. And that's why I always say I'm bridging the esoteric teachings and the practical daily habits, because you have to align your energy, and you have to physically show up in the material world, and you have to do the work and take the action in order to really manifest. It's not just about sitting there doing nothing and feeling good. You have to be feeling good and creating and doing things. But we really first have to make sure that we're loving ourselves, we're being kind to ourselves, we're being kind to one another, we're empowering ourselves, and we're really showing up as the best version of ourselves every day. And that means honoring our bodies, that means honoring our mind, honoring our emotions, honoring our feelings, and really making sure that we're creating time and space for ourselves in the morning and at night. And that's what you're doing by doing the guided meditations and the hypnosis. You're reprogramming yourself. You're reprogramming your mind to realize, no, I am a priority. Because when you make space for yourself, then other people are going to respond to you differently, because you are going to be showing up differently in the world. And you'll also show other people that it's powerful and that they can do it too, because people are going to be like, wow, she's handling herself so much better. He's handling himself so much better. And that's what it's coming down to, is really healing the past so that we can make space to receive, and so that we can clear up any funky energy that we have within us and release it, and that we can vibrate higher. And when we vibrate higher, we can release any tendencies not to love ourselves, and to really create a world where It's not loving us and an unsupportive world because we're not supporting ourselves or not trusting ourselves, and then not believing that the universe can really trust us and give us these big manifestations that we're trying to call in, right? That's why it's so much easier at first to start manifesting little things like free coffee, or showing up at the store and having the thing that you need be right there, and getting the free parking space. These are all so much easier because it's easier to believe them. And that's amazing and that's great. But I also want you to believe that you can manifest a $20,000 month, a $100,000 month, that you can manifest financial freedom, that you can manifest the car that you want, that you can manifest the love life that you want. Manifestation doesn't apply to one specific thing. There are certain areas in people's lives that they have a lot more limiting beliefs around, and you have to do a lot more work around. Traditionally, money and love are going to be those things. But love ultimately starts with our self-love, right? And if you are in a relationship, or if you've been in relationships, the relationships that work out the best are the ones when you are loving yourself and giving yourself what you need first and foremost, and you're not relying on the other person to give you that need, the love that you need. They're just supplementing and they're adding to it, and they're making it more fun and sexy, and they're just someone to share your love with. But ultimately, they can't take your love away from you because you're always generating your love inside of you. So that's what I want to teach you to do through boosting your confidence, through saying nice things to yourself, by being your own cheerleader. Think of it that way, your own hype woman. I want you to be the woman in the corner that's always boosting yourself and other people around you, because then other people are just going to magnetize towards you, because they're going to be like, wow, I feel so amazing and electric when I'm around her, because she's always empowering me. She's always helping me find solutions. She's always showing me that there is a better way. She's always proving to me that sacrifice isn't necessary. It's just going to be reprogramming and looking at my beliefs and my identity. And we're going to get into that. We're going to focus heavily on our identity. But before you can really identify the woman you want to be, the man you want to be, you have to love yourself, and you have to forgive yourself for the life that you've been living, and make sure that you've looked at it. When people turn to drugs and alcohol, it's normally because they don't want to look at their past and the feelings that have happened because of that, and the thoughts that have been created because of it. We have to look at it all. We have to get honest with ourselves. We have to feel the emotions. We have to. It's just so necessary. And that's why this work is so important, because you can come back to this. You can shift the majority of your past and heal the majority of your past. And then a year down the road, you might come into a whole new level of life or business where you might have to be faced up against a wall that you didn't heal and shift yet. But the beauty is, this work is applicable at any time and any transition in your life. Just make sure you're looking at your past, getting honest with it, forgiving yourself, forgiving everyone else involved, reframing how you saw that story, and then making sure that you're loving yourself, that you're saying kind things to yourself, that you're eating well, that you're exercising, that you're moving your body enough, that you're getting outside enough, that you're being kind to yourself and other people, that you're saying nice things. There's so much that you can do to support yourself in every single day. And when you create a healthy lifestyle, a sustainable, healthy lifestyle, it's about doing these things daily and showing up. So don't try and transform it all overnight if you're someone that hasn't been kind to yourself, or you've been eating a little worse than you should. It's okay, but it's just in the daily habits. You have to start somewhere. So we're going to start with boosting your self-confidence by doing some mirror work to really get you in front of the mirror and looking at yourself honestly, and start to feel more comfortable. Start saying nice things, to really look at any situations in your past that made you feel like you were unworthy of love, money, whatever it may be, unworthy of your dream life, your worthiness, your self-worth, your self-love, your self-confidence, your self-empowerment, going to open up the doors, the gates, the channels to allow you to find the clarity that you need and to really be able to vibrate higher instead of being in one of those states where you can do meditation and you can do, your morning routine, but then halfway through the day or 2 hours into the day, you're super frustrated, you're super angry, you're super emotional, you're super stressed out, anxious, whatever it may be. And then you constantly feel like you're on this teeter-totter, because that's what happens to a lot of us, right? We're trying to really be someone that came from a low vibrational life and existence, and we're trying to do better and we want more for ourselves, but it's just so difficult to get up to here and to stay consistent with it. And that's this foundation that I've built. It's really clearing the past and then building this self-love within us, so that way we know our worth and then we start thinking differently. It automatically aligns us higher. Then with our confidence, clarity, we can find our purpose, our power, our passion. It all starts coming together. And that's when you can really identify what you want out of life and start getting clear on the details, because your subconscious brain loves details. So we need you to get clear. You can't just say, I want to manifest a car. What kind of car do you want? Do you want a G-Wagon? Okay, more clear. I want a G-Wagon AMG 63 with a matte black exterior, and I want the interior to be black red leather. I want it to have heated and cooling seats. I want it to have fully tinted windows. I want it to be brand new. I want it to have 0 miles, and I want it to cost $150,000. That, my friend, is the difference between I want a car to you telling your brain and you commanding to the universe what you want. And you're very clear about it because you had all of the details. And you know what? Then you're able to visualize it. You're able to embody it. You're able to see yourself in it. You're able to believe that you can have it because you're getting clear on what you want, and also allows you to start making actionable goal steps to get there, to take the action, to take those aligned actions, to know what are the aligned actions. A lot of my clients, I find that just feel like they're lacking purpose. They're lacking clarity. They're just so stressed out and they're overwhelmed. And it's normally because they feel like they don't have direction in their life. They don't have a clear goal that they're moving towards. And it's mostly because they just haven't looked at their past enough and they haven't loved themselves enough. So what we're going to do is do this foundational work to make sure that we're really, really shifting everything that we've been experiencing and doing it in a really deep way. So that way throughout your life, you can come back to these practices throughout your day, and it can get easier and it can get faster and it can get quicker. I had a teacher that once told me in cosmetology school, get it, get fast, get good. And I apply that to everything in life. That's what I want you to be able to do with all of this. And it's really going to be that you find that manifestation and personal development and abundance and success, they are all so tied together because it's really based on your self-worth, your energy, your vibration, your frequency. But that's based on your self-worth, right? That's based on how much you love yourself, how much you believe that you can have, what you believe that you're worthy of, what you'll allow yourself to think about, what you'll allow yourself to envision, to dream about, to embody. And that's when life gets to get fun, when you say, no, this is who I want to be, and this is the reality I want to have, and this is the life I'm trying to create. And so that's why I say that this will get more fun as we go and we go, because we really have to do this foundational work first. And the foundational work is really the most transformative because it's the work that's going to help you be able to show up as your best self for yourself. And then you'll be able to show that in every other relationship, whether it's even with your relationship with your bank account or your business, in an esoteric sense, in a practical sense. That's what everything here is going to be about. So you're going to realize this week is again going to have guided meditations. It's going to have hypnoses, but they're really going to be about self-love. And these will be sprinkled throughout the entire course, because self-love is something that we're always going to keep working on, because self-worth is so important, especially when it comes to manifestation. I want you to heal your past. I want you to be able to look in the mirror and tell yourself that you love yourself. And I want you to be able to set really unrealistic goals to create a limitless reality, one that people look at and go, how did she do this? How did he do this? I want that too. Because what is more beautiful than empowering people to say, this broken reality that y'all have been fed, you can change it. That's the most empowering thing you could ever hear. It's triggering at first, super triggering at first, especially for that ego, But once you work through the ego, once you realize, wait a minute, if I take accountability and responsibility for myself, how I'm showing up every day, how I'm speaking, how I'm eating, how I'm dressing, the work that I'm doing, the life that I want to live, then I also get to change this. If I'm not happy about something, I get to look at, okay, why is this showing up in my life? What is it trying to teach me? What vibration was I giving off? Where did I drop my self-worth because I allowed myself to believe a limiting belief that I didn't question, or I allowed someone else to start creating my reality based on what I saw going on in social media in my industry, or what other people were doing, or what other people my age have. Whatever the case may be, you get to constantly look at everything happening and say, is this what I want out of my life? No? Okay, then how do I get to shift it? How do I get to change it so that it gets to be exactly how I want it to be? And realize that you don't know exactly how it's going to happen, but you don't need to know the how. You always just need to get clear on what you want and why you want it, because that's going to give you the power and the clarity to keep doing what you want and to know what you want, to be able to manifest. But you have to be able to love yourself first. So I know that this is a course on manifestation, but the manifestation teachings will be sprinkled throughout, because there's so much esoteric work and there's so many action steps that you need to take. The part that I see a lot of people struggle with, and I get it, I was one of them, as they get stuck in that learning phase, constantly watching the videos, but they're not sure what action to take, or they don't feel confident enough to take the action, or they don't trust themselves to speak out enough, like they don't feel like they've accomplished enough, or they just don't feel confident in using their voice, or they don't feel confident in who they are. You have to show up as authentically as you were born. You are meant to be exactly who you are. And when you try and be someone else, you take away your power and you take away the magnetism that you have, because you're the most magnetic when you're showing up authentically as yourself. So make sure in your business, in your posts, in your day-to-day life, that you're showing up how you want to. If you want to be covered in tattoos and you want to curse like I do, go ahead. If you don't want to have any tattoos and you don't want to swear at all, then go ahead. Do what feels best to you. If you want to color your hair bright blue, I had blue hair for 3 years. I support that. If you want to shave your head, I support that. Whatever makes you feel your best, and whatever you want to do in business. Don't allow what you've seen in business before to limit what you can create in your business. You can be any type of person. You can be any type of coach. You can create any type of course. There is a market out there. There is someone waiting for you to invest in yourself, to create the service that you were meant to give to this world, to create the products that you were meant to bring into this 3D reality. The most powerful things that you can do are going to be when you feel your best, because you are being authentically yourself. And your authenticity and your confidence and your ability to speak is really going to come from your authenticity. And I know that as someone with a defined throat in human design, it's really easy for me to be able to speak, but I've also been giving public speeches since I was 5 years old. It's truly not a coincidence that I'm speaking on a public platform and I'm speaking to people all over the globe. I was put in this role to be able to be a speaker in this life and to help you. But I wasn't always this way. I remember thinking, when I was super young, I was really shy and I was insecure. And I remember just feeling like so uncomfortable being in places with a lot of people. And I had to one day tell myself, like, is this how I want to be? Is this how I want every experience to be? Like when I'm around a lot of people, that I feel like I have to go to the corner and I get nervous and scared. And I was like, no. I looked around and I saw the people that were having fun and talking and were being the life of the room. And I said, I'm going to be one of those people. And I now know in NLP that's called modeling. And for people that are in personal development, I want you to know that that's the biggest takeaway that Tony Robbins learned in NLP, which is what started him in the personal development world, which is what started a multi-million-dollar industry, basically. That's how I'm here. That's how you're here, and that's what's really shifting the paradigm, and people are taking their power back and becoming co-creators because of this. But I was modeling the people that I saw doing what I wanted to do. So just because you've been a certain way your whole life doesn't mean you have to continue to keep being that person. If you've been shy, you can decide that you're not shy anymore. And I'm not saying overnight you're going to wake up and be like, all right, I'm here. But you can decide that you're not going to be shy anymore, and then you're going to take a step daily. Like you're going to go on your story and you're going to post a 30-second story every day of you talking. You can take tangible steps, but you also have to do the work of realizing that you have been shy and who you want to be and how you want to show up, and realizing that you get to love yourself and you get to be the person that you want to be in any way, shape, or form. But don't change who you are authentically and at your root, especially to show up online or to show up in the business world. We are here to shift this world, to break down that old school paradigm that was so unjust to so many people in so many ways. And the more authentic we can be, and the more authentic you are, the more you empower other people to be authentic. And the more you're going to bring your audience and your community to you, and the people that are really meant to be in your life, right? Because the people that want to be in your world are going to be the ones that love your energy. They love what you have to say. They love what you have to offer. They love your perspective on things. They're showing up because you're showing up the way you are showing up. And everything is energy. So if you're feeling insecure, people are going to feel that. If you're feeling desperate for money, and that's the reason why you're doing something, people are going to feel that. If you are showing up because you genuinely want to help people, people are going to feel that. If you are showing up as a happy person, people are going to feel that. So the energy you're putting in anything is an energy that people are going to feel while they're receiving the thing that you created in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter if that's a video, if it's written format, if it's audio, however you are putting your energy in the thing that you're doing. And then at the time that someone receives it, time isn't linear in quantum physics, and we'll get into this later, but time isn't linear. So in time techniques, that's why you hear people say you can jump timelines and you can go back and forth and up and down. Time isn't necessarily start to finish, right? So that's why when you start manifestation, things can start happening so quickly because time isn't linear. So the energy is still there when you've created something, when they're watching it. So you need to make sure that you're always showing up as your best and your most authentic self so that people can feel it. So they're magnetized to you, your business, your offerings, and so that you feel your best, because when you're authentically yourself, you feel your best. When I get my nails done, I feel amazing. When I get tattooed, I feel amazing. When I wear what I want to wear, I feel amazing. And I don't look at anyone else in the outside world to see if they're wearing that, or if it's okay for me to record my videos in this thing, or to show up in my client session dressed like this or with my hair like this. Do I love the way that I look? Do I feel good in the way that I'm showing up? Then that's what I'm going to keep doing. And that's what I want to empower you to do. I used to have a mohawk in high school. My hair was every color under the sun because I wasn't tattooed. I used to have piercings all over. I used to dress crazy. I used to wear combat boots with dinosaur leggings and tutus and have like a death hawk. And have big plugs in my ears and wear crazy things in them. I used to have glitter test tubes in my, like, I looked insane, but I loved it. I remember though, when I used to try to fit in with the crowd, I was one of the popular girls and I let my hair be natural. And so I had my blonde hair and I wore, the Abercrombie Fitch and all the things. And I just blended in. And I wasn't my weird self. I didn't wear weird things. I didn't show my personality and how, colorful and loud I am. And it felt so unnatural to me. It didn't feel organic. And I remember when it was like shedding my skin, like I was a snake, when I decided I'm not doing this anymore and I'm going to show up who I want to be. And I had a woman say to me, I really hope that my daughter can learn from you. And I was so touched. I mean, granted, I was like 16 years old, but it was so flattering because it was coming from the last woman I ever thought that would say that about, a daughter who was popular, who was doing well. She was smart. She rode horses. She had all of the things. But her mother felt like she was just trying to blend in with the crowd so much that she didn't have her own identity. And we're really going to get into identity in this. But identity and self-confidence and authenticity, it's all tied in together. So I really want you to think about what makes you feel your most authentic self. What makes you feel your best? What makes you feel the most luxurious? What makes you feel like you are that girl? You know what I mean? When you just like look at yourself and you're like, yeah, like look at me today. When you're like a day, like I'm taking selfies, like I look good, my hair looks good, my makeup looks good, my outfit's on fleek. It makes you feel like that bitch. And I don't mean that in an offensive way. What makes you feel like that woman that has it all, that you're untouchable? You feel like you are your best self, your most authentic. Because when you can create that life, that's when you get rid of imposter syndrome. That's when you're able to get really clear on the business you want to create, on the products you want to create, the services you're going to offer. It's all connected to your self-worth, your authenticity, your self-confidence, the way you're speaking to yourself, what you're thinking about, what you're dreaming about for your life, the woman you want to be, the man you want to be, the things you want to manifest, everything, your life experience. It's all going to be based on you being able to love yourself honestly and authentically, really loving yourself. So that's what I want you to focus on this week. And until next time, until next week, let me know if you need anything. I'm here for you. I'm so, so proud of you for showing up. You are doing amazing work. You are healing ancestral wounds. You are healing familial wounds. You are healing generational wounds. You're healing your past. You're healing yourself. You are healing your love story. You are healing. And with healing comes space for receiving and receiving and receiving. So keep showing up, keep doing the work. Make sure you're doing it daily so we can really reprogram your mind for abundance in every area of your life. I love you so, so much.